I haven't spoken to Michael Jordan yet, but Michael Jordan's statement that it was like a little brother. All the times that I've spoken to the both of them, I know that Michael Jordan's incredibly sincere when he says that. Kobe Bryant used to always dead serious say, "I wish I was in my prime." One of my biggest regret, I wasn't in my prime when Michael Jordan was in his prime, because I'd take him, and then I'd start laughing and saying that's just blasphemous. And he said, I said, I'm gonna tell Michael you said that. Please tell him. He knows. I called Michael, and Michael started laughing like, yeah, he tells me that all the time, that he'd bust my butt. So it's something he said to Michael. And then Jerry West, obviously, I've got a good relationship with Jerry West. I spoke to him last night, and he was crying. He was crying. He was devastated. Kobe was like a son to him. And a lot of times, we've mentioned a lot of people, but this is one of those moments where we need to remember who the hell Jerry West is. Jerry West might be the greatest executive in the history of basketball. Jerry West was the guy that worked out the draft day deal to acquire Kobe Bryant from the Hornets. That was in the works. And when Kobe slid to 13 and the Hornets grabbed him, it was already in the works that the Lakers were going to get him. In the midst of doing all of that, Jerry was in the process of acquiring Shaquille O'Neal from the Orlando Magic to come to Los Angeles to be a Los Angeles Laker. They had to work out things monetarily. Shaq demanded more money because of state income taxes in the state of California compared to no state income tax in Florida. And they had to come up with some extra dollars and stuff like that, okay? What people forget is that Kobe Bryant was a reserve. Kobe Bryant didn't come into the league as a starter. Kobe Bryant started in the All-Star game in New York before he was a starter for the Los Angeles Lakers. And why didn't he start? Because there was a guy by the name of Eddie Jones, who was an all-star for the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the elite perimeter defenders in the game, who could also put up, about 18 a night or whatever. He was an all-star. It was Jerry West who elected to move him so Kobe Bryant could become a starter. So Jerry always had this vision that Kobe was going to be one of the greatest ever, and he told Shaquille O'Neal that before Shaquille O'Neal even got on the plane to arrive in LA. He said, we got somebody here that is going to be a superstar in this league. You wait and see. And so we got to remember Jerry West because Kobe remembered it. When Del Harris had questions about him, because obviously Del Harris is a very good man, but Kobe's mouth would get to him because Kobe was so confident. When Shaq tried to slap Kobe at Loyola Marymount and he missed, but him and Kobe ended up trying to get fight because Kobe wouldn't back down and all of this other stuff. When there were critics everywhere about Kobe Bryant and what Kobe Bryant could be, it was Jerry West that was reminding everybody, y'all wait and see. This kid right here is going to be a superstar in this league. And so when I reflect on all the things and all the reactions, of course, Shaq is touching and him crying and his heart is broken. CP3, you can't even imagine what Kyrie Irving is going through, LeBron, D. Wade, Melo. We get all of that. And then you see, the coaches, the Luke Waltons, the Doc Rivers, the Alvin Gentrys of the world. I remember when Kobe drilled the three to clinch a series against Phoenix, and he slapped Alvin Gentry on the backside after hitting the jumper because obviously Alvin Gentry like timeout, because it was over. You remember all of those things. But what I'll remember most all as well, I don't want Jerry West to get lost in the shuffle because Kobe loved that man, and he loved that man because he knew that man believed in him before anybody else did.
When I think about Kobe Bryant, I think about the allegiance that his fans had to him, because we talked about this extensively yesterday. There are tons of Laker fans. There are tons of Kobe fans. Yeah. Sometimes they're the same thing.
You always bring that up.
Sometimes they're not. The Venn diagram, there's a huge shaded area where they're the same, but there's also overlap where they're not. And I know Lakers fans who were born Lakers fans, but when Kobe came around, they switched their allegiance to Kobe. It's not that they're not Lakers fans, they're Kobe fans first. And I'm thinking particularly in a certain age range, those who grew up watching him. What is that about? Whatever the metrics say, that he's a top 10 player, top 15 player, he's better than anyone. Like Jordan is the greatest of all time, and you saw what LeBron's done recently. But Kobe is with those guys ahead of everybody else, right? Like when you talk about non-bigs, it doesn't matter they're just failing to capture real value. Some of these numbers now because the game has changed. But, with apologies to guys like Harden or even KD or someone like that, not Kobe Bryant. We all lived through it. We saw. So what is the kind of, but then there are the irrational fans who are like, he's the greatest player of all time. He's better than Jordan. What is that about? It's the same thing with LeBron fans who come since then. If you grew up watching Kobe Bryant, when your eyes were on him, even if you didn't grow up watching him, when your eyes were on him, your imagination is not powerful enough to imagine anything ever being better than that, particularly if you grew up with him and you saw him through his prime, just as you're growing up. Because in another way, his accomplishments become your own. You can live vicariously through him.
Look how it transcended when people are in their own homes throwing socks into a laundry bin. Kobe.
Right. And especially those who heard about Jordan in the previous generation. They heard Stephen A. and guys like me, whoever else, like Jordan. They're like, oh, really what you're saying on an emotional level is your life was important. And your growing up years, your formative years, that's what's important. My story is not as important, right? Where I'm coming up is not where it's happening. Well, guess what? It is, and my story is, and that's my guy, and that's my generation. And that is the kind of attachment emotionally that whole generation has to Kobe Bryant. He's their greatest champion. You can't tell them otherwise.